was a time when a similar visa application, you'd have to show that that money had been in your account for at least 6 months. They conveniently lowered it to 28 days. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that people were going to try and cheat the system. So in actual fact, nobody cheated the system. People, they did exactly what you wanted them to do. So you would then go, you would get your visa, you would move to the UK, you could work during your degree, your master's degree program. After you finished, you automatically have 2 years to remain and do whatever work you could find. And then either you would then get the kind of sponsored white collar gig that you wanted, which would then allow you to stay and then get your indefinite leave to remain after 5 years. Or more likely, you wouldn't find such a job and you will end up going into care work, which would also allow you to stay for 5 years and get your indefinite leave to remain. So they created this whole pipeline of master's degree to care work to ILR, right? They even came up with a name for it eventually. So if you've heard of the term Boris wave, right? Boris wave is literally that entire class of immigrants that came from sub-Saharan Africa, primarily Nigeria, between 2016 and 2023 or thereabouts, or 2022. There's a name for it in British politics called the Boris wave, right? They know exactly what they did, right? So essentially what they did was that all of the people who had the potential to create political disruption in Nigeria during that period, they gave those people somewhere to escape to. So they created a new visa category called the Global Talent Visa. So all the artists and intellectuals, all of them left. And then, the people who had the potential to, just by virtue of their dissatisfaction and their expectations, because they were educated white-collar professionals who were being ground into poverty, those are the kind of people who eventually would have erupted into anger and something would have happened. They gave all of them a way to escape. They gave them, okay, you can just find some money, go, apply for a master's degree, move here, work in a care home, put up with whatever you have to put up with for 5 years, and then you have your indefinite leave to remain. And after another year, you get your British passport, and then, even if you end up wasting the rest of your life working in a care home, at least your children will be British citizens, and they will have access. They will have access to, supposedly have access to this, the entirety of British society, which is a lie. They will never have that access. Any Caribbean will tell you that, because the exact same scam was pulled on them during the so-called Windrush immigration era. But anyway, that's a different story. So that's exactly what they did. They weaponized inward immigration. And they did this despite the fact that British people have made it abundantly clear for the longest time that they do not want black and brown people around them.